Snowflakes fall like whispered dreams, frozen whispers in moonbeams. Candles flicker, shadows tall. Winter's here, we hear the call. Footprints trace the path we're on. In the silence, night is drawn. Huddled close as winds do blow, frozen lakes and streets below. Winter's breath, it chills the...
Welcome everybody to Ohio, and my name is Tracy, and I wanted to mention that my other two channels that I had on both gardening and cooking, unfortunately they were lost. I cannot get into them anymore. Something that I did, I lost everything. So I'm starting this new channel. I'm going to be resilient and not give up even though I lost those other ones. This channel is going to be combining gardening and garden cooking. Also, I'm going to be doing old recipes and new recipes and just being creative and using whole foods. That's the most important, is getting away from fast food eating, box eating, and start growing my own garden. I've been doing this for quite a few years now, and I'm pretty established with what I have available to me. Come along and I'll show you some of the things that are still left at this time of year.
Snowflakes fall like whispered dreams, frozen whispers in moonbeams. Candles flicker, shadows tall. Winter's here, we hear the call. Footprints trace the path we're on. In the silence, night is drawn. Huddled close as winds do blow. Frozen.
Now they look a little bit limp because it's so cold from last night. I keep this cover on and I'm still able to harvest the lettuce and kale, and the beets are even still growing. So just because it looks a little wilted doesn't mean that they're not going to perk right up and do well. In this tunnel, I have beautiful radishes that are doing excellent. I have two different mustards that are growing as well. And like I said, even though they look a little limp now, they're going to perk right up. They're not totally damaged or anything. And so these radishes, they're ready to pick. And believe it or not, I still have some herbs that are growing, like this thyme, this oregano, and I even have a little bit more thyme, a little bit more sage still popping out. The latest addition to my garden is a small orchard. And an orchard really only needs like 5 trees to be considered an orchard. Right now I have 2 apples, 2 peaches, and I'm going to be adding 2 additional fruit trees. And I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to be adding. So if you guys have any ideas to give me that you've been very happy with other than the peaches and the apples, let me know and put it in the comments below. I have this bed back here that has actually doubled in size, so my production is going to be so much bigger than what I had last year, and I'm going to be able to can it and freeze it and also use my dehydrator. So there's lots of ways to preserve what it is that you're making. All right, now that you've had the opportunity to see just a little bit of what's going on in my garden, I'm going to take you inside and we're going to make a pie crust that is definitely a keeper. You're going to love it. All right, now before we get started on that pie crust, I want to mention to everybody that as soon as December comes around, my job is to sort every seed that I have left, every package, and check and see what I have going into the next growing season. And this is how I set it up. I love getting organized and grouping things together according to what they are, whether it be peppers or cabbages or flowers or herbs. And once I know this, then I'm able to make a good decision on what I need to order. And I've got a couple different ones that I love to order from. Now, before we get started, you're going to need to have the grocery list. The first thing you need is 2.5 cups of all-purpose unbleached flour. You're going to need 2 sticks of unsalted butter, 1 egg. You need 1 teaspoon of kosher salt. Then you're going to need 1 tablespoon of white vinegar, and I use shredded sharp cheddar cheese, 1 cup.
Snowflakes fall like whispered dreams, frozen whispers in the shadows fall. Winter's here, we hear the call. Footprints trace the path we're on. In the silence, night is drawn. Huddled close as winds.
And put in 1 egg. We're going to add the 1 tablespoon of vinegar and a 1/2 cup of ice cold water. Now we're going to heat that up. And the easiest way to separate it is right over the sink, and you just keep putting the yolk back and forth until all the white has separated. And now we can add that in. That's better. Set that aside. We're going to mix the dry ingredients. We have the flour, and we have the salt, now we're going to cut the butter into small pieces, and we're going to gradually add that in to mix it.
Snowflakes fall like whispered dreams, frozen whispers in moonbeams. Candles flicker, shadows tall. Winter's here.
Now that did not incorporate it as much as what I want, so I'm going to use my hands, and I'm going to squeeze it between my fingers until I get a consistency that's like pea-sized pieces of butter mixed in with the flour. Now be patient, because it's important to do this step, because the thing is that you want to make sure everything you're using when it comes to pie crust is cold, so that you get a nice flaky crust. And incorporating the butter this way to just the right size will give you those pockets of butter, and that's what will create a nice flaky crust. Just making sure there's no big pieces anywhere. And this looks good. And sprinkle a little bit of cheese in and mix by hand. Three more tablespoons of egg mixture and a little more cheese. And it's starting to come together. And the rest of the cheese. If it's too dry, add a few more tablespoons. Okay, that seems nice and moist, so we're going to stop there. And now that that's nice and moist, I did have some mixture left over, but only use the amount that is going to give you a nice moist crust. The rest can just be thrown out, and we're going to make this 2 equal parts, and we're going to get 2 pie crust out of it. Now we're going to form this into a saucer. Now to finish these up, we're going to take some plastic wrap and we're going to wrap each one in plastic wrap. Now you want to make sure that you chill this before you start rolling it out. You want everything to set and incorporate. You have a couple of options. If you start early, you can put it in the refrigerator for, oh, I don't know, a few hours, maybe 4 hours or so. And then you're ready to go ahead and make the dough. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these in the fridge overnight, and then tomorrow I'm going to be making a pie, and I'm going to be making a quiche as well. So stay tuned and make sure you tune back in to see the next video where I'm going to actually make the pies. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I'm telling you, this is a great pie crust recipe, and I will see you tomorrow. Stay tuned.